Welcome to the Dice, Cards, and Coffee VideoCast. What happens when two game store owners interview another game store owner? Stick around to find out. All right, this is the Dice, Cards, and Coffee VideoCast. I'm Dustin from BGE's Tabletop.
I'm George from Gaming Grounds.
And I'm Dave from Fire and Dice.
And today's episode, we are talking all about me.
Woo! Dustin and BGE. BGE. So, Dustin, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, it's
Cool.
it's a good day. Our third episode for the VideoCast.
Yeah, right on. This is great. It's fun. Yeah, let's get right to it. You know, I'm actually really curious about your background. I know that you have a background in education. I want to hear more about that and like how that led you into BGE.
Yeah. So BGE stands for Board Game with Education. My background is in education, and when we originally started BGEs, it started as a podcast. And now we are a brick-and-mortar store. So the podcast originally started in Taiwan. We were a podcast and kind of an events-based business. Our business was not like huge by any means, but we ran some events like board game language exchange meetups. We did some programs for kids. I did a lot of tutoring. That's where most of the money for the business came from. And then we transitioned into the brick-and-mortar store. It's a long journey from there. I think
From Taiwan to here, yeah, it's pretty far.
It's pretty long flight. And so we moved back to the U.S. and we all know the pandemic hit, so you can't really do an events-based business in a pandemic. So we shifted our model to an e-commerce model, and we carried two publishers from the start. Looney Labs, they do the Flux games, and Genius Games, they do all the science-based games.
Okay.
And every game we carried in our store, we also offered complimentary learning resources. So you usually got like a lesson plan, after-school activity, or maybe homeschool activities, handouts, and things like that. And so if you bought, for example, Cytosis from Genius Games from us, you would get these learning resources for free as a downloadable PDF.
Okay. What was your target audience at that?
It was, teachers, homeschool parents, things like that. Mainly that was pretty much it. And that's why we branched out like we did.
Yes.
It wasn't looking to be a sustainable business model. Not that it's not possible, but a lot of work, a lot of like, what do I want to say, like mission work to go to schools and like spread the idea of game-based learning and gamification. And even that is still kind of tough to push into schools. There's a bit of a negative connotation when you hear the word gamification. People assume it to be other things like airplane miles, which it is. That is gamification, but we're really targeting game-based learning, which is kind of a separate thing. We have a whole podcast of over 150 episodes about this topic. So
Okay. Oh, wow. I did not know that.
I like the word gamification.
yeah, I mean, gamification is also excellent tool. I think it's something we'll probably employ in our con and at various levels.
Yeah, I really think parents should utilize gamification. It's a very fun, easy way to get the kids into learning.
Yeah, moving into the game realm. So let's ask. I want to ask that you started this about a year and a half or so ago. What made you choose this location? And
I guess when did you start planning before actually opening?
So we opened the brick and mortar at this location a year and a half ago, but we were doing brick and mortar, quote unquote, brick and mortar sales before that, since we were doing like different pop-ups and stuff. Our very first like physical in-person sale was at a coffee shop in Northridge. They had starting offering like local vendors to come sell their things because they wanted to support the community during the pandemic as well. And so we set up there for an afternoon. Super awesome aficionado cafe, super awesome coffee shop. They let us do it for free. They also started doing pop-ups about once a month and also offered that for free for the community for a while. And again, during the pandemic, it's not free anymore, but the rate's very good. Reach out to them if you are in the LA area, Northridge area. And so we did a lot of events like that. We did Strategicon, which you both have been at. It's a local gaming convention in LA. We did LA Comic Con, which was like our biggest convention, most expensive, biggest revenue, but also most expensive. So not the best profit, but also a good way to kind of like move product and stuff, and also just test like things out, like inventory management, being willing to, serve customers for 12 hours straight. If you both know when you open a store, like you don't get a lot of breaks. You're not mandated by the state to give yourself a 30-minute break. So
I also remember you had a kiosk in the Northridge Mall too, right?
Yeah, we also did a holiday season in the mall, and that was like perfect test. Like, can I do this? What works well? How do we order from our distributors when we want to order a lot? Like, keeping track of inventory, looking at what a day-to-day sales looks like in person, like for a week, and going a Tuesday with $0 in sales, like that happens even in the mall. Like, so just understanding the ebbs and flows of weekly sales or daily sales, and kind of managing cash flow, even though it was just a couple months. It was good practice for that.
Yeah, I remember going to the mall once, and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And I was talking to your wife, and then I was like, "Oh, that's pretty neat." And then she gave me a card and everything. And then I guess later down the line, I guess you told me that you actually stopped by our store way back just to check it out. I remember you coming in once saying that you planned on opening BGE. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah, I remember. I think I chatted to someone in your store a while back. Yeah, when I think this was before the pandemic, when we were trying to run events in the area, and it just I don't remember the conversation we had. But I was kind of asking like, what do you guys do for event space? How would someone rent it and stuff like that? And we ended up getting like a space over in this kind of is foreign language for people who are not from the area, but the west, the business center in the valley.
Is that on Ventura Boulevard?
No, it's like right over here. It's where the LA Rams new practice facility is going.
Okay.
I don't know the name.
Yeah, I don't know the name, but I think I know what you're talking about.
And we rented a space, and they were super generous and awesome too. They were nonprofit, and they do a lot of like help for people in the community with learning challenges and stuff like that. So we hosted some game nights. We only got to do that for 2 months before the pandemic hit. So we didn't even really get a chance to get started and going. Right. But yeah, that was like 5 years ago. So how long ago was the pandemic? 4 years ago. 4 years ago.
It's a blur.
Who knows? It's a mystery.
That's neat that you were in different, like doing different things in tabletop area, using the tabletop and utilizing for different little things until you reached to a physical retail store.
That's really pretty awesome. Like sticking with it and waiting really till the pandemic was done to get your brick-and-mortar store going. And you started that. What was like some of the challenges that you had starting in this location?
I think the biggest challenge, and we're still seeing it 2 years after signing our lease, is moving too fast with the brick-and-mortar. Definitely was smart in taking it step by step and doing like online sales first, and everything I made from online sales went directly back into the business because at that time I was working full time. So like I didn't need to spend a lot of time in the online store. Now moving into the pop-ups and stuff, and using a lot of the revenue from that back into inventory again, because mostly working full time and I didn't need that source of revenue or the source of income. And then moving in here, I think it's just a challenge because we opened a little too soon, but also at the same time, this location's pretty excellent. And I don't think it would have lasted more than a day if I wouldn't have called the realtor. Like, he said he had several other people in line. I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also, I'm
good salesman.
I'm pretty sure he did, since he had, like, the place next door was also for lease or for rent.
Oh, really?
That
too?
went quick too.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it was accurate. However, like, the spot's excellent. Parking's great. We talked about that Dae's episode. Parking's huge. Parking's awesome here. We're in a shopping center with a very busy, well-known community pizza restaurant.
Right.
There's a bunch of, like, kids, I want to say, like, support programs or facilities. I don't know. What do you call it? Like taekwondo, the dance studio, the boxing studio.
Kid activities.
Kid activities, yeah. That's the word I'm looking
I know
for.
my kids went to that pizza place after their games and always hung out. So
yeah,
I'm sure a store like this, back then would have been awesome to come by. So I'm sure it's pretty awesome right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. Our old location, we had a pizza place right next to us. And our current location has a pizza place right next to us.
There you go. Pizza places.
Your this spot has a pizza place.
Maybe that's if you want to open a store, find a pizza place.
Or maybe there's just too many pizza places.
or make your own pizza.
Yeah.
Oh, there is a board game cafe.
That makes their own pizza.
Slice and
Dice
or something.
That sounds about right.
What's the name of it? I can't remember.
It sounds like Slice
and
and
it
Dice.
has dice in it for sure. The word dice.
Yeah. Dice and Slice or Slice and Dice.
Diceria. I don't know about that one.
So you did mention that going too fast. You're going too fast. Do you mean going too fast as in building this place up, or getting to this, like, to where you are right now?
Wishing I would have saved up a little bit more capital. Yeah, I think cash flow for me, even 2 years down the road, is still tight.
Yeah,
it's kind of
the startup cost of anything,
Yeah. And I don't know. I should ask Dae if that changes down the road after 7-8 years, or is cash flow always a challenge for game stores?
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned for us, we're lucky because we already had a community, and me and my business partner already had a huge collection of Magic cards and stuff. So we were kind of ready for that volume, I guess, off the get-go. But just everything, obviously overhead plus all these fixtures. You just need a lot of money to start it up.
Plus employees. How many employees do you have?
Overhead is crazy.
We have 2. Okay. They each get 8 hours a week. That's really where our labor costs end. We can't afford much more yet. The goal this year is to be able to pay all open hours of the store. So by the end of the year, I'd like to have, whether I'm working the hours that we're open or someone else is working the hours. Well, if someone else is working the hours, they're getting paid. But if I'm here during open hours, I will get paid for those open hours. That's the goal by the end of the year. Yeah. Which eventually, like, I don't know if you guys have, like, you always think about exit strategy. There's a plan at the end. Like, for me, do I want to eventually replace myself with a manager and then kind of take a step back? Or do we want to look at a second store? Do we want to just me stay the manager role and take that salary for the rest of my life, kind of type thing? So it's always like, what's our goal with eventually hiring a manager, or just keeping myself?
What's like your current top of the listing? Like, it looks like you do a little bit of everything, So is there, like, are you more focused on certain things versus the other? Do you want to try to push more miniatures and TCG, or try to get more board game community going? Like, what do you feel like you...
Yeah, I mean,
all of the above?
Yeah.
All the above, right?
I guess I think there's 2 answers to the question. One, it depends on your local community and serving that and making sure you're catering to what the market wants. But at the same time, as, like, our mission statement is all about the positive aspects of tabletop gaming, I don't think that stops at a certain product line. However, I think, again, just based on the store and the location, maybe one, like, TCGs are more important in that location. For us, in this location, I just looked at our past 90-day sales, and our number 1 is Pokemon.
Okay.
Number 2 is Lorcana, which was like, whoa, Lorcana finally passed everything else. Yeah.
Wow.
And then at 3, it's Magic, Warhammer, and board games, and they're pretty close.
Pretty close. Yeah.
So, and then there's also indie RPGs, and then I'm also leaving out like our other thing that I sort is BG's Tabletop, which is anything that we run as an event.
Oh,
so I
like
classify
summertime.
everything, and that's actually number 2. So Pokemon's number 1, and if you look at any of our events, that's number 2. And that has to do with a lot of like our summer camps and kids programming and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, events being number 2 is really good because that means you have people coming in.
Yeah.
Doing your events and activities.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good sign. It's also like good that we don't just go into one thing, because if one of these companies decides to cut us off or change what they do and it doesn't work with us, then we're like, okay, then we got to switch.
That's why in the industry they always talk about diversifying, making sure you're not just super focused on one product. You know, diversify as much as you can.
Yeah, I would say like a lot of people focus, Pokemon's our top selling product. Let's just push it. But if you can get those other products that are lower on the list to start generating some income, that's, brings everything up around it, instead of just focusing on one thing. Because if that one thing kind of gets hit with something, dies down for a little bit, then you're suffering, So yeah, I think it's worth getting everything to build up. So and with the community that you try to build here, I know you do the camps, and I think that's really cool. And what's the age group of those camps?
The camps we do, so summer camp, the age range is a little bit wider because we offer a lot more programming, and that I think we do as young as 7.
Okay.
And then as old as like 15. Of course, if someone a little bit older wants to join for camp, we're not going to turn them away. However, we try to like group age groups. So we do also kids D&D. That's also a camp, and then something we offer throughout the week, or mainly on the weekends right now. And we try to separate it into groups as much as possible, age groups. So we have 8 to 11 and then 12 to 15.
Gotcha. Okay. How many groups are you getting right now around?
Oh man. So I think we're in a big transition period with our kids D&D. We had probably about 12 players that are too old to play at our store now and creating their own groups.
Okay.
So
they've aged out.
Yeah, so we got, and we're still new, so casting a net and trying to get more people into our store outside of like word of mouth. We get a lot of word of mouth and friends and family or siblings that come in. But beyond that, it's been a challenge to figure out how to spread this beyond word of mouth. So we were like 2 cycles ago. So we do 5-week campaigns. And 2 cycles ago, we were waitlist with all the things that all the players we had to offer. I think we had 45 players.
Wow.
And so we were waitlist there. And then last cycle, we were at like 30.
Okay.
And then this cycle, we'll probably be at about 30 maybe again, too.
Okay. Like 5 weeks, then you get a 5-week campaign.
Yeah, 5-week campaign.
That's awesome.
And we do like a kind of a punch card system. It's not, you don't get a physical punch card, but we just track it in our system. And if you miss a week, you can use that as store credit or carry it over to a future session.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great. And do you do the DMing too?
I'm the backup DM.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to DM for this winter camp for a week. It was a lot of fun because it was a winter-based like encampment, and so they had to build up the encampment, and they explored the area. And I did something cool where whatever the AM session did influenced the PM session's campaign, and vice versa. And then at the end of the day, both sessions got to make an improvement to the encampment. Like, for example, build an armory that if you visit it, you get +1 to your armor class. So they did that for the AM session. The PM session also got access to that. So they each improved something in the town.
It's like a organic town. Or
plus they had to kind of work together, right?
Yeah.
Like they had to plan ahead for the other group. That's cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so what else do you want us to know about the store that like we haven't covered already?
I mean, I would say we've been here for a year, 9 months. We're just signing a new 2-year lease, so we'll be here for a couple more years at this spot.
Right, huh?
Yeah, I do know we need a bigger space. If you come visit, we're only 900 square feet, so we're kind of small footprint I would say like almost the minimal size of a game store footprint you can do. I think you can do less.
If you're doing events, that's for sure.
Events and like board games too.
Yeah.
Like if it's just TCG and you're just like maybe
Right.
selling trading card games, I think you can get by with like 500, 600 probably.
Yeah.
Or if you're like very online
If you're not
focused.
event focused, you can definitely go smaller. but-
Yeah. So eventually we'll need to move, I think. We did ask for something in our lease, which was right to first access or right to first something. I don't know the official
Okay.
realtor term, but essentially where we get first access to anybody that moves out
out.
of
Oh,
the
okay.
center.
Like a bigger spot. Was there a certain spot you're eyeing in this
I mean,
plaza?
it'd be awesome if next door moved out, but I don't want to like,
yeah.
you know, I'm not
Are they
wishing
bigger
it
than
ill.
this one?
I think they're about the same size. It's
Oh.
a hair salon. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
so
about
you
the
would
same
take over
size?
too.
So yeah, we would
Just take
Oh,
just-
you want to knock it
knock
down?
the wall down and
Yeah,
Ooh,
that'd be
yeah.
awesome.
yeah.
That'd be cool.
Because I mean, that's another thing with a game store that maybe people would like to know is where we're at now. I haven't seen where we hit a peak yet. You know, I don't
Right.
think we've leveled out yet. It does seem like we're still, even after the holidays, looking at our sales at the start of January, it does seem like we're still kind of growing.
Mhm.
However, I do foresee the peak getting to a point where my salary or making enough money would not be, it would be below median income for
Mhm.
Los Angeles.
Right.
And that's has to do with space limitations, I think, a
Mhm.
little bit. Like we can't carry as much inventory, we can't have as much of a retail footprint, we can't do as many events. So
Right.
if I want to make a median salary for Los Angeles, we do need a bigger spot.
Or a second job.
Yeah, or my wife just needs to make a lot more money.
Yeah,
So yeah.
Does
so
she work here with you?
yeah, she helps out a lot. She's awesome. She does work. Well, she was full time in the production in reality TV, and now she's freelancing. So,
Okay.
but
Hmm.
right now she's been helping a lot. She helped over winter camp. She does a lot of order fulfillments for us. Creates product pages. She does a little bit of design too. Yeah.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
It's good to have that help
Oh yeah. Yeah.
for sure.
That's the one way you can legally employ someone without paying them.
Yeah. That's great.
Does your wife also play a lot of board games or?
Yeah. So, well,
Well, you guys play board games?
yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we get I think we go through cycles where we're really good at meeting up with friends, and we do it like once a week or once every other week. And right now we're in a cycle where we haven't played much. We did do Blood on the Clock Tower on
Oh,
New Year's
cool.
Eve, which was really cool,
Nice.
and I ran that. And I'll probably play when we do it at our store in January too. But yeah, I mean, we get a little bit in. We used to play a lot. Like if you look at our library, most of those games were all our games, and then they've become our lending library, so you can come in and rent a game
I
or
see
play them in
some
the store.
Rising Sun, Scythe.
What is your like top 5
Top 5.
right now?
So I wish it could change, but it's been the top 5 for a
It's-
long time because I haven't a chance to play other
play new
stuff.
stuff. Yeah, it's definitely hard to find time.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say like the top 5 are not any worse. It's just I want to explore more. But I would say Scythe, Rising Sun, Food Chain Magnet.
Food Chain Magnet.
I like Ankh. I haven't played it enough, and I think a lot of people don't like the merge mechanics so much, or at least my group.
Okay.
I would love to find others to play. Dune Imperium is probably another one up there.
Sounds like you like a lot of
that's a good
games
one.
that deal with conflict.
Conflict. I love it. I love interaction.
Blood Rage.
It's got to be with a group that can handle
yeah. You need the same type of group that plays the same type of games.
Yeah.
For sure to enjoy.
Well, you have
know.
like every expansion of Ankh up there. That looks
That was my
pretty impressive.
first all-in Kickstarter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right.
It was like $400.
Nice.
I mean, it is a lot of cardboard.
Yeah,
That's
I wanna-
huge.
Yeah, it's funny. Because we rent our games and people can take them home for a week. And someone came to rent Ankh. He's like, oh my gosh. And I handed him all the boxes. He's like, I don't know if I need all those. And so, because
They just wanted the base.
yeah. And I also separated it out differently.
Yeah, okay.
Like, so when you open it up, you open like what you need.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there's some
That makes
expansions
sense.
that are just extra, like factions or gods.
Got it.
And technically it doesn't add an expansion. It's just a different choice. So that's,
Right.
yeah.
Which
Okay.
is cool. Yeah.
Nice. Have you ever ran into issues with renting out? model?
We've had one customer come in and say there was a piece missing. So that was a huge like stressor at first.
Mhm.
And then once I decided like, hey, these games really wouldn't cost us much to, like we've rented it 3 or 4 times at this point. We've made our money on the game.
Right.
Like if we lose a piece, oh
Yeah.
well, like of course we don't want to tell that to people who are renting it because then they won't take care of it. Or maybe they'll be less likely to be like, eh. But yeah, like as long as we rent a game twice, we break even on our cost. The third time is profit. And we've had a customer, maybe they did come back with a piece missing, and we just offer them another like 1 or 2 free rentals depending on like the game and the piece and what their
How
experience
badly
was. Yeah. Because like also it's not worth the labor to have staff go through and
each
check.
game.
Yeah. So it's
yeah,
like
going through some of those games definitely would be
thought
hectic.
I thought of like a waiting system. Like
I know.
you weigh
I
the
heard.
box, but
So
I don't know.
I just came from Anime Los Angeles. I staffed at Tabletop, so they actually count the pieces in
They open the box and count everything.
We were counting, we were opening. I was just like,
I don't
let's
know if
just
that's
weigh
worth
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weigh it, or like what
3
I have
hours
my
later.
what I have my staff do is just open it up and look, because if it looks like it's all put back and taken care of, you can fairly certainly trust that there's nothing missing.
No, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
especially card games, you're missing one card. It's like you're not gonna really know.
Yeah.
Like that's tough. But like you said, if as long as you get it out there a couple times, get your money back.
And also like what we have for our lending library is probably too much of a footprint for our store. Like it probably would serve better having more sales retail space.
Yeah, because of the smaller.
Yeah. And like we
footprint.
could definitely leverage some more retail space in the back here, but also like I like having the play space separate from buying things.
It feels comfortable.
Yeah.
It's a really comfortable space, so I like it.
All right, so that was enough about me. Let's talk about the convention. We have our name. We've decided on our name.
What is it?
Let's effing go.
Let's effing go.
Okay.
LFG Con.
LFG Con.
Looking for gamers, looking for group. LFG Con.
A lot of
serves-
different things you can you can think what it means, but
Right.
Yeah.
Looking for group. Let's F and go.
Yep.
All right.
It's funny, I
I
was
like
driving by a place the other day in LA, and it was LFG Design or something. I was like, hey, that's our name.
You stole our name before we even had it.
So yeah, that's our name. And then we also wanted to talk about for our convention segment, like where we're at in the convention, how each of us are feeling individually. Does anyone want to start?
Yeah, okay. I'll start. We have about a year and a half because we already have the date set. And that's, even though we have a year and a half, I'm feeling already under the gun, like, oh man, we got to get all this stuff done. But it's also exciting. Right now we're just in the very beginning processes of, delegating who's going to do what job. We got some of that done, and we're going to start a LLC. We're going to get our bank account going and fund it and start with our website, I think, right? Is that probably the first big step?
Let's effing go.
Have a landing page for people to click on and, get that email for newsletters, whatnot, updates.
Yeah, get some feedback too, maybe. That would be fun. I don't know.
Yeah. For me, it feels a little, I don't want to say the weird, but like a different mood or mode where we're actually going to start working on stuff now. Because we've been brainstorming, we've been talking, we've been like deciding for the past, I want to say like 6 months now.
Yeah.
Or is it longer? I mean,
officially maybe 6 months, but before then we've been kind of chatting about it.
So like to actually grab a domain name and then start to look at a website and landing page, and then now editing, like I've edited this episode now that you've seen it, whoever's watching or listening, like doing some of these things that are work. It feels a little strange shifting modes into that. And then I think it's going to be a balancing act between our stores and doing this and the working on the con, like where we're thinking about higher level decisions, and then working in the con where we're actually wearing hats of doing some of this stuff.
We're gonna have to have a lot of hats made. Switching them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I hear that. That makes sense. Like you have your job and now you have another job, you know, and it's right now it's like, okay, yeah, we can do this because it's not taking so much of our energy, but it's going to, you know, so I'm trying to gear up. I want to do as much as I can beforehand so I don't get, you know,
don't get slammed with everything stressed out.
Exactly.
For sure.
How about you, Dae?
I feel great. I'm very much looking forward to it. I love going to convention. I just came from staffing at a anime convention at the Tabletop area. So, and I don't know. I just like conventions and the community. I just like the crowds and meeting people, I think.
All right. So you're just like laid back. I got this. You've done it before.
Since I've staffed at like other conventions, and the big one I staffed at was PAX West. Used to be called Prime, but and it's just I envision our convention to be professional with the staffing and and guest relations, all that stuff. It's just like, I don't know. It's weird. It's like, it is kind of like a job, but at the same time, it's kind of not. I guess it's somewhat as, like when I go to a store, I'm like, all right, this is a job. And then while I'm doing it, eventually I feel like, oh, it doesn't feel like a job because it's something I enjoy doing, you know? That's
important.
Yeah.
That's really good. It's good you can do that because otherwise you just burn out really quickly.
Yeah. There definitely have been some burnouts at the shop, but hired more employees, give them more responsibility definitely helps with all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So we're deep breath. We're ready for the convention planning and doing it.
Go.
All right. So thank you for tuning in this week or this day. I think you hopefully just watched a couple episodes of Dae's Fire and Dice and George's Game and Grounds episode. And I'm Dustin from BG's Tabletop. So one more time, signing off, where can people find you? Where can people find your store?
You can find us online, www.gameandgrounds.com, and Chatsworth, California.
You can find our store Fire and Dice in Winnetka in San Fernando Valley. And we just have a Facebook page, FAD Games.
And I'm Dustin, bgtabletop.com. And you can follow us on any social media. And then you can follow the convention and follow along. We'll have, hopefully, a link down below to find our landing page and or whenever you're tuning into this, maybe our full website.
Yeah.